I want you to get together.
Hello there, John Coleman here. I've been a mortgage broker for over 17 years. What I want to do today is just to go over what I would view as the full roadmap to buying your own home, and then just to hone in on the first element of it, and then in each of the following videos, I'll go through each element in more detail so we can drill down into each particular part of getting your own home. So the way I view this, if I was starting off today to buy a house, the first thing I need to know really is, well, how much can you borrow? Then how much would I need to have to bring to the deal? What do I need to do to make sure the bank will give me the mortgage? Then going and finding my home, and then ultimately paying for it, which surprises some people when I always talk about the interest rates at the very end rather than at the very start, but we'll go into that in more detail on a later recording. So, how much can you borrow? Right, well, the central bank has given a rule, and it's based on income, right? And it's based on income alone, not how much you're bringing to the purchase. The central bank's rule is the banks can't lend more than 3.5 times your income. So that begs the question, well, how do banks calculate income? Okay. First thing they will look at is your basic income. So that's what you're paid regardless of whether you do overtime, whether you get bonus, whether you get commission, whether you do shift work. It's your basic income, okay? On top of that, they will then look at those items I just mentioned, but they will look at them in a different way. They won't give them the same allowance as the basic income, though some banks will, depending on the occupation, may give greater allowances towards shift allowances for nurses or doctors, while other banks, if you're getting commission, will want to see it over 3 years. Other banks will work with 1 year. Again, the same with bonuses. Some banks will want to see a bonus of being paid for 2 or 3 years, while different banks might go with 1. So getting a full understanding of how your income is made up is crucial in determining well, A, how much you can borrow, and B, ultimately maybe which bank you will place your business with. So the question I always get asked is, well, sorry, I have forgotten the self-employed income, which is very important to bring to your attention. Self-employed income is viewed, again, different banks in different ways. If you're a sole trader, they'll want to see you having earned sometimes banks will want 2 years, sometimes banks will want 3 years. It's based on net profit, not turnover. With limited companies, some banks will just take whatever salary you're paying over 2 years. Other banks will include retained earnings. So again, knowing which bank and knowing how much you're going to borrow will be really, really important. And knowing, basically, the less you want to borrow, the more choice you're going to have. If you need to borrow more money, you may have to go with the banks who treat your income or view your income in a more generous light. Okay. But again, following on from that, the question that I often get is, well, can you get more than 3.5 times your income? The answer is yes. Central banks do allow what they call exceptions to these rules. This is difficult to get. Banks tend to cherry pick, and they will be based on the following: how old you are. The younger you are, the easier it would be to get an exception. Income, the higher income you're earning, the easier it will be to get an exception. Do you have any kids? The more kids you have, the less likely it will be that you get an exception. Do you have any other loans? So what loans do you have? If you have more loans, the less likely. And then the most bizarre of them all is the time of the year. Ultimately, the banks have a certain budget that they can give over a year. So towards the end of the year and the beginning of the following year tends to be the time where it's easiest to get an exception. The exceptions can range from anywhere between 4 to 4.5 times your income, but again, it's not a guarantee, and the goalposts, the rules on exceptions change as the year goes by. So it's very, very difficult to plan to get an exception. So just to keep all that in mind, if you need any further clarification around how much you can borrow or how the banks would view your income, just reach out to me. That's John Coleman. and I look forward to talking to you again in the future.
I want you to get together.